computer. Okay, quickly, I do want to give, selfishly, since I'm running the call, I'm going to give some shout outs. Any other leaders that are on the line, if you want to give a quick shout out, you're welcome to. But if you guys will recall, one of your homework assignments was to go identify your goals and write down your physical goals, your financial goals. Set deadlines for yourself, whether they're crystal rank advancements or they're just rank advancements in general. Hold yourself accountable to it. And then also put your network down on paper, and you won't be able to move forward to our future homework this coming week if you haven't done that. But I wanted to give some huge accolades to people in my direct downline that I personally enrolled who really came through. I'm just loving the energy and the commitment with this team. Scott Garrett, we had a phenomenal call this past week and where he wants to go with his business, and he's owning it over the next 2 years. He wants to hit 6 figures. So I'm calling you out there, Scott. I love it. And he set his goals. I think initially we set goals for consultant this week, but we're looking at setting goals for consultant next week now, given his enrollment plan. So his just initial goals that he's setting. Mike Dodsworth coming through and sending his goals to me today, printing out that sheet and putting down his goals for his rank advancements and physical and financial goals. It's important to have these things on paper. Martin Conway, he and I actually sat down for 2 hours on Monday, really hammering out some goals and some objectives and ideas and direction for him. And Martin, I'll tell you, you and Scott are on the same career track with Isagenix and your plans on what you want to do. So I would recommend you guys stay close to each other and hold each other accountable on the direction you want to go with this business, because your goals are very similar. I want to give a huge shout out to Sadie Cox, who sent me, she's a personal enrollment of mine, who sent me her goals this week. And Louisa, I'm pretty sure, Louisa, you sent me yours as well. I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. And so I just want to give huge shout outs to my personal enrollments who've done that. Dawn, you and I went back and forth, but I'm not sure you actually committed to a date for director. You're asking for my opinion, but I want you to put the pen to paper on what you think is doable. And so I know that Dawn and I went back and forth. She's super fired up with Terry. Lastly, I want to give, two other things. Dawn and Terry, I want to give you guys a huge shout out because I know you're doing your very first event tomorrow. And that's huge. Just owning it and doing it. And I don't think I sent you my deck. I don't know if you need my PowerPoint deck or not. So please send me a text message if you need that. Lastly, just 3-way calls that were set up. Jennifer Bartram, in the pockets of her time, in the pockets of my time, in the middle of signing off on a house and everything else, we were able to have a 3-way call with a phenomenal future business builder. And Karam having his 3-way call set up tomorrow with a fitness instructor. So just huge shout outs to you guys. Like, you're taking action. And I know that there's so much more going on this team. These are just people who personally I'm coaching that are in my downline. And I hope you guys can feel that energy and that motion that I talked about in the beginning with this quote and the action that you guys are taking. Okay, so let's get into the meat of our presentation or our training today. I am going to share my screen because I made some slides. This is the corporate in me. I can't help it. Let's see. So you guys can see this. Let me pull up my deck. Where'd it go? I just had them out. Here they are. All right, you guys see that? Okay, perfect. So week 3, I've already recapped on last week's goals. If you have not done that yet, it's not too late. Catch up. Go do it and send it to your upline. Spend 15, 20, 30 minutes with them. Make it real. Put pen to paper and put it in front of you and run for it. This week is all about our 30-second stories and getting into action. I'm gonna get into that here in a little bit, and it's gonna really lay in with the 100 list that you guys put together. But I just want to start with, some of you have been around a little while and you've practiced and articulated your 30-second story. Some of you are pretty new and you're loving the products and you're loving the idea of the financial opportunity. And what we find in Isagenix is that sometimes we get so excited about what we're a part of, whether it's physically or financial or both, that we can't shut up about it. Right? And so we get so enthusiastic, we get in front of a prospect, and we find this one thing we connect about. And I am so guilty of this when I first started, really for the first year. And all of a sudden, we just throw up everything we know about Isagenix because we are so excited. Our 30-second story is 30 minutes. Maybe it's over a cocktail with friends on Friday night, and like you're sitting on the couch, and before you know it, you realize you've spent the last 30 minutes talking about Isagenix. You're the only person talking, right? The enthusiasm can take over. And I'm here to coach you, and your leadership team is here to coach you, and those who've been around for a while, to rein it back. The point of the 30-second story is I'm going to say that your 30-second story is the most important skill that you pare down to grow this business. Because if you can't be succinct, connect, and then ask questions and turn it over to the person you're talking with, it's going to be impossible for you to build a business. I've had some salespeople who've come in from sales backgrounds who thought they were going to crush this business. And they find that they're so busy trying to push and dump something, and they forget to ask insightful questions and connect, that they fall flat on their face. And I've seen introverts who aren't the biggest people persons be hugely successful in this business because they just share enough, but then ask enough questions and connect with the person they're across the table from. So my point here is there's a reason when you go to isagenixbusiness.com or you go to the globalexec.com training page, the first thing we really talk about is your 30-second story, okay? So tonight, I'm going to give you I'm going to go through some templates, but I want you to know that I posted today the links where all of this is that we're going to talk about tonight. I posted it in our Future Executives Facebook page. And all these resources are pulled from the globalexecteam.com webpage. And so you'll find that your assignments around your 30-second story, the links are embedded in that Facebook page. So don't feel like you have to feverishly take notes unless this is just the way you learn. Know that this is a screenshot from the Global Exec page, okay? And I've got your resource linked in the Facebook page for your assignment. So here is what I call the scaffolding of a 30-second story. It's really about what was life like before Isagenix, and then who introduced Isagenix to you. I think this is an important part of the story because we are a business of networking. We are a word-of-mouth business, so it's important to share with people that the reason you're on these products is because someone you know was willing to share them with you, because that's how this business works, okay? And then the third piece is, you know, you can or can't, it doesn't really matter, that third bullet about how long you've been on the products. I actually love to say I've been using the products for 4 years, and it's a huge part of our family's lifestyle because it shows them I'm in it for the long haul, right? And then you want to talk about the results of what Isagenix has done for you, either physically or financially. And then you want to talk about, they say, I now feel or I now believe. I take it a whole nother step, and I talk about the future and why I'm excited about the future. Okay. Now, what's important is that you should have 2 30-second stories. If you are on this call, you aren't just focused on leading with the product. If you are on this call, in particular, in this training, you are interested in the business. So therefore, you need a 30-second business story as well. And I think it's important that you have both and they're succinct. Your 30-second business story doesn't have to be a story about you already exceeding a certain income and being set financially free. Your story can be what you're excited about in the future with this company. Your story can talk about debt that you've already paid off or products that you're already paying for. And you can lean on your upline story to leverage in your 30-second story. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But it's important that you have 2 stories. You have a product story and you have a business story, because it depends on who you're talking to as to which story you're going to flex, correct? If you're running into someone at the YMCA who's talking about wanting to lose some weight, or a colleague who's really low on energy, you're not going to share with them your financial story. You're going to share with them what's relatable with your product story, right? Now, the flip with the financial opportunity. Someone's stressing about college for kids or debt or whatever it may be. I'm getting a lot of stories from people going through really bad divorces right now, and they make great income, but their lawyer fees are outrageous, and so then you're going to talk about residual income, right? And so it's going to be a different conversation. And so if there's any homework that needs to be done, I love that you guys pour into the Global Exec Training calls. I love that you're on these calls on Wednesday nights. I love that you're plugged in and you're getting into podcasts and you're learning about the business. But if there's anything that you need to get buttoned up and super tight and polished, it's your 30-second story, because it's going to open the door to your business. Okay. So that's what we're going to focus on tonight. And I'm going to call on some of the leaders to kind of share their 30-second story as well. But this just goes to show you that 30-second stories with product can fall into many categories. It could be weight loss. It could be performance. It can be overall healthy aging. And so, or just healthy life, right? I love Louisa's story because it's really just about taking her incredibly healthy body and making it even healthier than she ever thought that she could be, right? And then you have me, whose story was really around energy and sleep, and by consequence, I lost a couple inches in my waist, right? You've got Mike, and you've got Scott, which is very much more athletic performance. So everybody's story is different, okay? So I'd love to have some of the leaders on the line share some of their examples of 30-second stories. I'm happy to go first just to kind of set the tone here. Let me stop sharing for a minute so I can see all of you guys. Okay, I can see Laura. Hey, Laura. And I see Jenny over there having dinner. Okay, so here you go, guys. I'm just going to share with you. It might not be pretty or perfect, but I'm going to share with you one of my examples of a product story. And you can flex your product story. Many of us have many results from Isagenix. It's not just energy. It's not just weight loss. And so depending on what your prospect is consoling with you about or sharing with you as a problem, you're going to want to flex a little bit if you can, and or share one of your colleagues' 30-second stories if it's not something you can relate to, but you know someone on your team does. So for instance, if I'm chatting with a man who's, into performance, I've been doing this a lot lately, I'm leveraging Joe Ames' 30-second story because his story relates better. But I don't want to overcomplicate it. For now, let's just focus on our own. So here's mine. So I'll just start with, I was a corporate professional traveling on planes, trains, and automobiles all over the country. I was a health food nut, prepped a ton of food. Oh, whoops. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Husband's texting me. All right, let me start over. So I was a corporate professional traveling all over the place, low on energy and not sleeping well, really suffered from insomnia pretty badly. And I was just on the go, and I was looking for a solution for my health. I was a health food nut, and I really respected quality and purity of products. And a good friend introduced me to these products, and I put them in my body. And literally within days, I was sleeping like a baby. I had more mental clarity than I thought I could possibly have at 35 with two small kids in diapers. And I had more energy. I was waking up before the alarm went off and getting better workouts in. And so, as a result of that, I'm now the healthiest version of myself ever. And I'm so excited for the future. I'm going to be 40 this year, and my goal with these products is to be 40 and the healthiest I've ever been. So see, that was maybe 30, 45 seconds. You're going to want to flex. I didn't even really talk about my weight loss journey, right? I didn't lose a lot of weight, but I lost 6 inches. Now, if it's someone who's really looking to lose weight, I may delve into the weight loss piece more than the sleep or the energy, right? Is this making sense for you guys? Now, financial story. I will say, I say this a lot. I get a lot of questions about being home with my kids now. And so I may just say, gosh, yeah, up until a year and a half ago, I was in the corporate world too. I was trading a ton of time for money and really just had my back up against a wall where I wasn't seeing my kids much. and I wasn't sleeping well at night because I just didn't have the quality of life I really wanted. This nutrition that I put in my body that took my health from like a 3 to a 10, I decided to lean in and learn the business model, and it blew my mind. Over a couple of years, I was able to build significant residual income that surpassed my corporate income, and I was able to walk away and do this part-time with full-time pay. And I'm so excited about the future because now I'm looking at the opportunity to actually retire my husband too, so that we can both be home with our kids, travel more, and do more of what we want to do. Again, short and succinct. Now, your financial story is going to be different because you're in a different place than me. And so what I'd like to do is turn it over to maybe Dawn. Dawn, if you wouldn't mind sharing. Dawn is a phenomenal leader on our team with lots of great experience. And she's got a great 30-second story, and you've got a great business story and product story. I'd love to hear your 30-second product story and then maybe your 30-second business story.
Okay, thanks, guys. So before Isagenix, I was corporate traveling in corporate America. Very tired, drinking a lot of coffee. Ibuprofen was like my best friend. Very sporadic workouts. And a really great friend of mine introduced me to Isagenix. I was skeptical at first. When I put those products in my body, I lit up in about 3 days. I felt incredible. I didn't need the coffee. I slept very well. And then after several months, I was able to shed approximately 30 pounds. And then I gained about 10 pounds of muscle, which really, intrigued me. I started to delve into the performance line. Now, this has been 4 years in, and I cannot even imagine my life without Isagenix in them. Is that something that you'd be open to hearing more about?
Perfect. You guys hear it? In her enthusiasm and her voice. And the key here is that then we ask insightful questions to our prospect, and we ask more and more and more questions. And we're really eager to insert when they start to share their struggles and start throwing up on Isagenix being the solution, right? But we want our prospects to feel heard first, okay? We want to ask multiple insightful questions to really understand why what they're doing isn't working. So if Dawn's sharing this with someone at the gym who's looking to lose weight, after she shares her story and says, is this something you would like to hear more about? They'd say, yeah, sure. And she might say, well, tell me what you've done and why do you think it hasn't worked, right? So you want to help peel the onion back. They're going to maybe talk about meal prepping and how it just takes too much time. And so then you're going to leverage the ease of use of our shakes. Maybe they talk about cost of the paleo diet. And then you can go the direction of our shakes being less than $3 a meal, right? Like there's a million directions you can go, but if you don't ask the questions, then you're not going to present Isagenix as the solution because you don't understand their barriers or their problems. Is that making sense? I mean, I'm taking you guys to like a whole nother level with this business, but this is what secures the number one reason people don't sign up at the end of a conversation or, your follow-up call is because you haven't truly identified their problem. You haven't drawn the line for them, so they don't see it as a solution, and so they're not jumping on board physically or financially. And I run into it. I did it earlier this week on a call with a girl from LinkedIn. When I did kind of my own personal after action review, I knew when I hung up the phone, like it hadn't resonated with her the way it needed to because I hadn't gotten to her pain point, right? Okay, awesome, Dawn. Thank you for sharing. Will you share your financial story too? Because I think people would like to hear that since you're in the midst of the hustle, right? And you've got goals. Yeah. So share with us how you do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to be really truthful. This is really what I've been saying to people. I have been using Isagenix products now. I've been an avid user for 4 years. I really wasn't all in with the financial opportunity, but I've watched my friend be able to quit her corporate job after matching her income. She's paid off over $100,000 in debt, and I trust her. I know that she is going to lead me and I'm going to be able to duplicate what she's doing. Is this something that you'd be interested? You want to be on the team and learn along with me? Because I'm in it for the long haul and this is what I'm going to do.
Awesome. Perfect. And this is exactly what I did, right? Dawn, I love it. When I started leading with the business and I was still working, I used Amanda Ham's story. I used Renee Schreidman's story. You know, I talked about how I've joined them on this journey and they're the most professional women and they've left their corporate careers and they're doing this and they're living this amazing lifestyle and I'm following in their footsteps. Would you like to learn more? So guys, there's no reason to lie or like overinflate your success. You just have to talk about where you're headed and why you're excited, right? Is this making sense for you guys? That was awesome, Dawn. Thank you so much for sharing. Jen Bartram was going to share tonight her, you guys say a little prayer. One of the kids that was at her house today, like rode a motorcycle home with a friend and had an accident and they're at the ER right now. So not sure, hopefully he's okay. It's not her son, but it's one of her son's friends. So anyway, would anyone else on the line? I mean, this is a safe environment. We're going to have a homework assignment with this. Louisa, you may be busy. I know you're multitasking. And if you are, that's okay, but I'm going to call you out for a second anyway. If you have a second, we'd love to hear your 30-second story. If you're multitasking, because I know you're at a game and she's not unmuting herself, so she's probably busy. Would anyone else like to just throw it out there and practice their 30-second story before we move on to more content? Their 30-second product story or 30-second business story, so folks can hear some examples before they go home and start practicing it. I guess you are home. We're all home, aren't we? No? Okay. Let's see. Sadie, I'm going to call you out. Sadie, are you listening? I see. Where are you?
I'm listening.
Would you like to practice your 30-second story?
No, I do not want to practice right now. We just had to go live today. It's been a long day.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on the line. I see that. Well, thank you for being on the line. I won't put you on the spot anymore. We're all going to practice with our teammates. So
I will practice. I promise. I'm going to be in the car a lot this weekend. So
awesome. Okay, good. Are you going to be in the car with Brandon? You can practice with him too.
Yes. We're headed to Chattanooga.
And Brandon can practice his story too. Okay, guys. So we'll move on then. If no one else wants to speak, you're going to have homework assignments on this anyway, and you're going to get comfortable. Believe me, you're going to get comfortable doing this because you're going to be sharing this with strangers. Okay, so you can't see that. I'm sharing my screen, and I'm looking at it, and I just realized that my screen isn't shared. Hang on. Share. Desktop. Okay, let me move this out of the way. Okay, so the remainder of the call, we're going to get into action, guys. Remember those lists that we talked about? I know Martin and I already had a discussion about this earlier this week, but this week is all about getting into action and reaching out to people. Oh, I spelled action wrong. Ha! Okay, and Einstein's spelling was not important to Einstein. That's what I tell my husband all the time. I am the worst speller in the world, but I'm good at a lot of things. Spelling is not one of them. Plus I was doing these slides at like midnight last night. So remember those lists that everybody made? Now, some of you who are on the line tonight, there's two approaches to drive this business, and then there's a balance. So I'm going to leave it up to you, and I'm going to give you some templates and ideas with both, okay? There's what we call the bottom-up recruitment. Bottom-up recruitment is recruiting for the product, okay? Bottom-up, very classic, is, introducing people and proposing that Isagenix is a solution for their overall health, performance, you name it. It's a gateway to get people in, change their lives physically, and then backdoor talk about the business. Predominantly, a lot of the Isagenix millionaires in the past came in that way. A lot of our six-figure earners came in that way. We all came in on product and promoted product. I made six figures promoting product, okay? It works, so you can do that. A lot of it is social media and promoting kind of before and afters and looking for people who are looking for a health change, okay? That's what we call bottom up, okay? Then there's also top down. Top down is the space I love playing in, so you guys are going to get heavy coaching from me on that, but I want to give you the full disclaimer that there are 281 ways to become Isagenix millionaire. If you talk to all 281 of them, they've done them differently. So the top down leading with the financial opportunity with professionals is my sweet spot, and I'm finding that I'm getting a lot of traction that way. And so I'm going to lead heavily on coaching you guys to this, but I'm also going to coach you to the product piece as well. And you can apply the principles that I train you on to do either. And many do a nice balance, right? Like many balance recruiting for product and recruiting for business, right? And it just depends on who's in front of you as to what you're going to talk about. Is this making sense to you guys? It's really both, which is beautiful. I mean, you think about a Jessica Johnston who came in for the product and became Herb Zepeda's biggest income earner, right? So you can bring people in on product. Sadie Cox came in on product, and she has a huge network, and she ended up sharing because she had such a great experience. And from that blossomed like my entire focus leg of executives in my downline. And so had Sadie not come in with me because she was at a keto, she was doing a keto diet and she was in a plateau, she didn't come in for the business. She came in to cleanse and to lose weight. And her partnership and her network is created a huge livelihood in my business. So I want to make that disclaimer that just because I'm heavy leading with the business doesn't mean you can't lead exclusively with the product if that's your comfort zone. You can apply my principles the same. Okay. All right. So first things first, with those lists that you guys made, there are resources in the globalexecteam.com training page of templates. I posted again our homework for the next week. I posted the link to this particular page on the Global Exec Team to give you ideas on templates. I want you to notice here that there are templates on Call a Few Friends about the business. If you click on that, Susan Miller gives you some great verbiage, some power verbiage, power words, power statements when you're on the phone or texting or messaging someone about the business. I'm also going to give you some verbiage that I took and tweaked of hers that I use, or that you could use. I've kind of tweaked it a little bit for what you could do. Also, text a few friends. So they give you some examples. And then the text a few friends is really based off of product and then initial Facebook posts. Now, I want you to know that these resources are here for two reasons. I want you to know these resources are here for you so that you can begin recruiting for product and business. But I also want you to know that this is here for you because it duplicates. So as you begin to bring people in and they say, hey, I'm having great results, I'd love to share, but I don't know how. Or you're bringing people in and they say, I'm gung-ho 100% for the business. How do I get started? You can leverage these tools. You're at work. You are all working full time, right? You can't just coach and text and have templates for everybody everywhere. I go to the Global Exec Team page, and many of you in my downline that have recently enrolled have experienced this. I go to this particular tab that I've got on the Facebook page, and I click on it, and I copy the web link, and I dump it into a text message to my new business builders. And I say, before you get started or before I have a coaching call with you on how to begin growing your business, check out these ideas on how to get started in leading with the business and leading with the product. This gives them, if you click on initial Facebook post and simple steps, it actually walks you through what to post, how to follow up, and how to bring your upline in on a 3-way call. So guys, I want you to know that these tools are here because you are business owners. You are growing businesses, and you need to know that when people come in who are interested in the business, you can give them homework to go look at this, okay? So your initial homework is to go look at this yourself so that you know what's there and you can play with it and make it your own as you begin to directly message to recruit for product and recruit for business, okay? Any questions on that? Okay. By the way, Jennifer says that the kid at the ER is okay. He's going to be fine. Could have been a disaster. Okay. He's okay. I was worried. I think once you're a parent, you're just like, oh. Okay. Now, oh, and by the way, you see that little tab down there that says enroll? For those of you who've been around a little while, how many of you have spent hours talking your new enrollment into how to put their own first enrollment in? If you've got someone who texts you and they're like, oh my gosh, I've got my first enrollment, I don't know how to do it, there's a tutorial on how to do it, okay? I just want you guys to know this stuff is here. Okay, so let's get to messaging. So I'm gonna give you guys some ideas on messaging for business and messaging for product. And my challenge for you guys, and as you begin doing this and getting in a rhythm, it's going to get easier and easier. But I'm going to challenge you to message 5 people a day. Now, that can be 2 on product, 3 on business. It can be 5 on product, or it can be 5 on business. But if you consistently reach out and begin planting seeds, and Martin and I talked about this the other day, it takes 5 to 7 touches for anyone before you enroll them. I want you to think about how many touches it took for your sponsor to reach out to you before you decided to say yes, okay? It took Amanda Ham 8 months, and I don't even know how many messages that I didn't look at, I ignored and didn't respond to before the time was right for me, okay? So my challenge to you, and the messaging will get easier for you if you save templates for business and save templates for product, either on your phone in the notes section, on your iPad in the notes section, or on your computer, whichever you're working off of the most frequently. You copy your verbiage and paste, and then I want you to make it unique to the person you message. You know, the first couple of sentences, and Martin did a really great job with this. He shared with me kind of what he's using right now. And in his first couple of sentences, it's very authentic. You know, you're authentically connecting and following up with people, right? Don't be disappointed if you don't hear back. The reality is, when people don't respond, it's just not a priority. They don't know what they're missing. And so it's on us to follow up, and you guys will get more coaching on this over the next couple of weeks. But so here is some messaging that you're welcome to steal. I posted it again. All of this information is on the same Facebook post that I put this afternoon that you guys will be able to, I've got today's date on it, so you'll be able to find it. So what I have here is, hi X, so whoever will say, hey Bob, I've come across an incredible opportunity, and you came to mind given your background in, and this is where you want to get specific. So I just put XYZ here. When I'm on LinkedIn, I go and look at people's profiles. And if I see that they're in leadership, or that they're in sales, or that they're in health and wellness, I'm going to leverage that. So I may say, I see that you came to mind given your background as a clinician. Do you ever keep your eyes open to additional streams of income while working full time? Okay. Now, it's important that if you're leading with the business, it's important, I think, to put in a sentence like this, because some people are open, some people are ready, and some people aren't, and they're not ready to receive this, and that is okay, right? And then I say, if I sent you a video, would you watch it with an open mind? Now, to me, that's not requiring a ton of commitment. I've identified that they would be good at this. Would they be willing to look at it? And another piece of verbiage that you can put in there that I love is, this may or may not be for you. You could say, this may or may not be for you. That kind of takes the pressure off. Or you can also say, this may or may not be for you, but if it is, it could change your life like it has mine, right? So you can throw some words in there like that. Now, I ask if I would you, because I am probably messaging on a different scale than you guys, because I'm now, like, network marketing is my profession. So I may send out 100 messages a week. And so I want to make sure that the person who gets on the phone has at least gotten 10 to 15 minutes of an idea of what this is about. I don't want to make it so elusive and have, like, them not do anything and then get on the phone and them not be interested. Now, for you guys, the majority, and these, because this is cold market for me, these aren't people that I know anymore, right? For most of you who are just getting started, this is your warm market. So if you're messaging people in your warm market, you may want to consider starting with asking for 15 minutes of their time before offering up a video. Because if it's someone close to you and you're telling them they would be phenomenal at this, are they open to multiple streams of income, and you may get further with just getting them on the phone. If you get them to agree to a 10 to 15-minute call, get it in the calendar. Once they agree, then have them watch the video as homework, okay? Because if you're leading with the business, I would highly recommend when you get them to agree to a phone call that you pull in your upline to support you in that call. And if you're pulling me in for a 3-way call, I'm going to have you watch a business overview first before I get on the phone with them. But we find that the success rate can sometimes be higher with getting people on the line if you get them to commit first and then give them the video to watch as homework versus giving them the video to see for interest to then see if you can get them on the phone. Because sometimes people will they'll Google and they'll do all this research because you've given them just enough information to get some demons in their head and find a reason not to get on the phone with you, right? So I'm going to, you guys maybe you wanted it black or white. I'm giving you options. I'm going to say if it's cold market, have them watch a video before you get on the phone with them, or have them watch a video before you have additional conversations with them. If it's your warm market and you know them well, get them to commit to a call first, then give them the video. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully I didn't make it confusing. Does that make sense, or was that confusing? Kind of confusing? You're good?
It makes sense.
Okay, cool. I've just found that with your warm market, like they're going to be more willing to hop on the phone with you, even if they don't really want to do it, like, okay, humor me. Okay. Now, if you're using videos and you're asking them if I would you with the business, there's a great YouTube video with Joe Ames that's about 7 or 8 minutes. It's great for especially men who are athletes. I have one that's pretty lengthy. It goes through the entire business model and kind of my story. I send it to women who are clinicians and big pharma. It seems to resonate. Susan Miller has a phenomenal video called The Next Entrepreneur that's on the landing page of our prospecting global exec, the getfree.global webpage. When you first open it up, The Next Entrepreneur is in there. That's a really good, quick 7-minute video that you can send to any prospect. So I'm just giving you guys some ideas on videos when you ask if I would you. If you need access to these videos and you're having a hard time finding them or don't know where to get them, please message your upline and we can help you get those, okay? Now, the same can be said for the product. If you look at our getfree.global prospecting webpage, there's videos there. There's a great video on the Isagenix, what is it? Transform Your Life video. There's great videos in there. So I want you to go in there and play with that. Speak with your upline as far as those videos go and what might be helpful. I actually use my own science overview that's about 13 or 14 minutes. This is the one I sent to you the other day, Martin. I really just talk through the pillars of health. I find that resonates really well with people. It's old school. Like my hair is like this short. I didn't know how to use a camera and it's like looking up my nose and I'm in like really slouchy clothes, but like I've gotten so much success with it because it's not so buttoned up and like almost unreal. It's really like authentic coming from a pharmacist who's like passionate about the products, and one day I keep getting requests from you to redo that. I'm like, one day when my life slows down, maybe I will, but it seems to be working now. So for me personally, I use my YouTube video on the products. When I connect with someone with a 30-second story or through social media and they express interest, I secure a date for a call and then have them watch the Pillars of Health video before we talk about the product. That way I don't spend 45 minutes talking about cleansing and ashwagandha and shake days and cleanse days and alkalinity and Undenatured Way. I don't have to talk about that because they've learned about it in the video. So they're coming to me informed and ready to ask questions. And so you guys want to truly do this business in the pockets of your time. In order to do this business in the pockets of your time, you need to use the tools. So use those videos so that you're just jumping on the phone to validate and answer questions. Okay, so we're almost done. So there's 2 ways with product opportunity. There's 2 ways to mess. There's 2 ways. Well, let me take a step back. With business as well, business or product, regardless of what you're leading with, guys, you want to I want to suggest that get uncomfortable and just pick up the phone, right? Or record your voice when you message people. If you're thinking of someone that you just think would absolutely crush this business, why not pick up the phone and give them a call? See what's going on in their life, connect with them, and let them know you were thinking about them because you're so excited about what you're doing, and you could see them absolutely crushing it, and see where it takes you. As far as messaging goes for product, you can send direct messages, or you can do Facebook posts. There's a lot of popularity with using social media, but I want to say that don't just depend on Facebook posts. Don't do what I call the post and pray. You know, oh my gosh, I put this one transformational photo out this week and nobody messaged me. Well, that's not running a business, right? That's just creating a little bit of a brand for what you're about. It's not just exclusively going to bring in business for you. But there's some really great coaching and guidance that I've posted on our team Facebook page for today that you can click on. It gives you really good guidance on how to make a first Facebook post if you're starting and you're really excited about your box coming, or if you're already on your journey, how you can still post about it. And it's important that you guys know where this is, because when you enroll new people who either just want to eat for free and want to learn how to share, or they're interested in the business, a great way to help them go consultant quickly is to share with them how to make kind of a coming out post on social media about getting their health in check or aging more youthfully or whatever their health and wellness goals are. Just to come out with their social network and be excited about it can create a lot of interest. And it can help them get their first couple of enrollments that are product and kind of get your confidence up, right? So I want you guys to make sure you go look at that. Okay, so we're wrapping up. See, we're wrapping up early. Are you guys proud of me? I'm proud of me. So here's my call to action for the next week. I want you guys getting uncomfortable, okay? You're gonna hear me say this a lot about getting uncomfortable, but that's what this business is all about. I want you to take the script that I posted today on how to draft your 30-second story. I want you to draft a physical 30-second story, and I want you to draft a financial 30-second story. You heard from Dawn today, you heard from me. Now, your two actions with that 30-second story is I want you to connect with your accountability buddy. Literally, it can be a 5 to 10 minute phone call at some point between today and next Wednesday. And I want you guys to take turns sharing your physical and your financial story. And I want you to give critical feedback. I want you to set the clock. I want you to see, and I want you to hold each other accountable to this. This is going to help you grow, and it's going to help you develop this story to connect with people. Now, the second piece to this is where you guys are going to get really uncomfortable, and this is where the page is going to get really fun, is I want you guys to play with technology and social media, and it's in a safe environment, but I want you to take that one of your two 30-second stories, and I want you to go into our Future Isagenix Executive Facebook page, and I want you to go live. And if you need instructions on how to do that, I'm happy to teach you. All you have to do is go to make a post, and instead of making a post, you're going to click Go Live. And if you've never done this before, you're going to get all freaked out, and you're going to worry about what's coming out of your mouth, and that's part of this business, is just growing and getting uncomfortable. So many of you are brand new at this, and you're in a safe environment. And I want you to hit Go Live, and I want you to share your 30-second story with just our small group. And what's going to happen, because there's like 30 of you in this group, I think altogether, is our page is going to get flooded with a ton of stories. And this is going to do two things. You're going to learn from each other. You're going to hear so many other stories, and maybe, oh gosh, I could have done it this way, or I like the way she said it that way. And we're going to learn as a group, right? But the other thing is you're going to be able to collect all of these stories. You're going to hear some incredible stories about what these products have done for people and why people are excited with the business, so that when you're in front of a prospect, maybe your story doesn't resonate, but maybe Karam's story does, or maybe Jenny's story does, or I hope Carl does a 30-second story too, Jenny, because I'd love for people to hear Carl's story, right? Everybody has such a different story. If there's spouses that are on the line that are kind of like supportive spouses that maybe are dipping their toe into the business, but not full throttle like the spouse, I'd still love for you to jump in and do your 30-second story on our Facebook page, okay? So that's homework assignment number 1. Now you've got 7 days to do this, okay? Homework assignment number 2 is starting this week, but I want you to keep in mind, this becomes a habit-forming act, and that is messaging 5 people a day, every day. The key to this business is consistency. The key to this business is planting seeds. If you guys did your homework last week, you should have a list of at least 100 people. All you have to do if you don't have any is go to your Christmas card list, go to your Facebook list, go to your LinkedIn list, go to your neighborhood registry, go to your church registry, go to your soccer moms registry, go to your PTA registry, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. I think I've given you enough lists. There's no way you don't have 100 people. There's no way. And I want you to have that list. And if you have that list of 100, then it will be very feasible. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. It'd be very feasible to carve out 5 to 10 minutes a day to work down your list to begin messaging people. Now, I want to set expectation. What's going to happen when the first 80 people you message, 75 of them don't respond? Okay? It's a reality. I've been there, okay? I got so excited when I finally caught the vision of this business and messaged over 100 people on LinkedIn and didn't hear back but from like 4 people, and they were all no's, okay? I'm preparing you guys for this because this business doesn't happen overnight. People don't say, yes, sign me up tomorrow. Your close friends and family will maybe get on the products with you and get on this journey with you to support you. But as you begin planting seeds, what's happening? What's happening over the next 3 months as we go through this training is you are planting seeds. You are messaging people, whether they respond to you or not. You are making a statement. You are making a statement that I am owning this. You would be phenomenal at this. And I would love to talk to you about this. It may or may not be the right time for you today, but I am here and I would love to talk to you about it. It may take 3 months. It may take 6 months. It took Scott Garrett 8 months to say, okay, I'm ready, okay? This is a business of consistency and follow-up. And it's all a matter of it being the right timing for your prospect in their life to be open to receive. So I hope this is making sense to you guys. You're going to be planting seeds. You're going to be planting seeds. You're going to go back and water your seeds by saying, oh, there's this overview. I think you would really enjoy it. Plant more seeds, water back over here. Oh, this guy, I think you'd really resonate with him. I'd love for you to hear his overview. Plant some seeds. Just following up is now a better time. Planting seeds, right? And I think that somebody spoke to this I think it was today, Amanda Ham, or maybe it was Elisa. If you get so bummed out and wrapped around the axle about someone not being interested, you are not prospecting enough people. Okay, maybe one of the reasons I reach out to 100 people a week is it doesn't hurt my feelings if 80 of them don't respond. Right? But my point is, if you're focused on 2 or 3 people that you're just trying to manifest in your organization, if you could just get them to see, if you could just get them in, let go, bless and release and move on. They aren't ready, right? You can follow back up with them, but don't let them suck the life out of you because they're not ready. Okay. So I want to land on that. And Scott Garrett, I would love, if you're still on the line, he might have hung up. Let's see. Scott, are you still on the line? No, he was in a loud place. I think he hung up. I'd love for him to share with you guys his story because this is a classic example. I'm going to close on this. And that is, I started messaging him and recruiting him 8 months ago. And he watched some overviews, he watched some videos, we had some calls, but it wasn't the right time. And then life got really busy, business got really busy. And 8 months went by and I could have forgotten about him if I wasn't organized. I could have completely forgotten about him because he hadn't said yes. And it took Joe Ames' video coming out and it I looked at my follow-up list, and it had been 2 months since I'd followed up with him. And I thought, this is why we do overviews, guys, because you never know who's going to speak, that you're like, oh, yes, I've got to invite this person that I haven't been able to enroll to come hear this Andrea LaBouche tonight, because they are a school teacher and she's a school teacher and she would resonate with that story, right? And for me with Scott, it was this guy who was that just completely resonated with Scott. And he saw the video and he was on board. I got him on the call with Joe Ames, and he enrolled within 24 hours. Had I not been organized, had I not watered the seed, given it some sun, watered that seed, nourished it, and followed up, it never would have happened, okay? So we're in it for the long haul. This is a marathon. These are crops. These are seeds. So I want you guys to commit to your messaging. So the last thing is I want you to, as you guys are messaging, as you're getting responses from prospects, I'd love for you guys to screenshot them and put them in our thread, and we can group coach. You might get responses that say, well, how much is it? Or what is it? Or tell me about it. Don't be afraid to just be like, oh my gosh, I have no idea how to respond to this. I'm going to take a screenshot of it and throw it into this thread and see what everybody thinks. Okay? So let's take action. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you this. And we're going to close out. Oh, Dawn, you have your hand raised. What's up, girlfriend?
I did. I was going to share with everyone that I stalked Melissa for about 3 months.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, please tell.
I think no less than probably 20 phone calls with me. I was so skeptical, and thank God she wasn't pushy. She just answered my questions. There was zero pressure. So just remember that at the end of the day, that it's not about you, it's all about them, and it is in their due time. So just be consistent and be upbeat, and do not let it get you down, and just move on.
So true. Same with you, Martin. I think you and I went back and forth for quite some time before you decided to sign on.
Yeah, we did. 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah. So when you guys, I want you guys to keep your story in mind. So Martin, keep your story in mind as you're reaching out to people. Dawn, keep your story in mind as you're reaching out to people. When you get frustrated that people that you want in your organization aren't responding, look at yourself in the mirror and say, it took me a while to get on board too. I've just got to connect with this person and be persistent. Not obnoxious, but persistent. Okay. All right. Who's ready to start?
Hey, Melissa.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hi, it's Karen.
Hi, Karen. Welcome to the line.
Hi there. Thanks. I've actually been on. I just didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, I'm at an airport. Flight's delayed, so I thought I'd dial in. Can I play devil's advocate for a second? And
Sure.
then I'll go ahead and mute my line.
Yeah.
All right, so I heard Dawn's story, right? And frankly speaking, if someone was, if my concern, with such a promising story that, I feel better in 3 days, I sleep better in 3 days, oftentimes these are chronic conditions. So I would be quite reluctant to kind of, not that I would lead with that if that's not what I've experienced, but oftentimes, the perception is if it's too good to be true, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's probably not, it's probably not the case. So I'm just, curious. I mean, have you had any pushback with stories like that? Where, I feel better in 3 days, I feel better in a week.
Yep.
That to me is just too much of an overpromise. And if I was to be told that, I'd frankly, I just feel sold.
Hey,
Yeah.
Kieran. So I'll speak
Yeah.
to that, because if people knew me, they know my baseline, right? So they already know that I'm pretty energetic. I work out, I have things, and it wasn't that I was really chronic. But what I have been doing lately, so I'm so glad you said this, because I didn't do this in the beginning, is now I'm saying to people, what are your goals when they tell me? And then they tell me what are some of their challenges. I say to them, how long do you think it took you to get here? 30, 40 years?
Okay.
It is. I just want to set realistic expectations, because I can promise you that you're going to experience something. I don't know what that is. And it might take you 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, but let's at least give it a 90-day trial, at least 90 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you commit to that?
Agreed.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
know, and it's a great point, Karen, because, and it's the same with the business too, right? Like if we make it sound too good to be true, then people think it's not true, right? And so I try to be really transparent in my prospecting calls about the business that yes, I made 6 figures in less than 2 years, but let's talk about how much work I put into it. I set the expectation up front that it didn't, that it's network marketing and that it didn't fall into my lap, that I burned the candle at both ends and I had some long nights to get there, but it was totally worth it. And what that does too is it allows to sieve in, recruit people who are willing to do the work. I don't want to set the expectation when people come in that it's going to be easy, because they're going to come in and they're not going to do any work. Right? So I think you make a really good point. But what I will say, my response to you there would be that I think the key with this business and product is that you authentically share your story, and every person's journey is different, right? And so for those who've had profound effects and changes quickly, they're ecstatic about it. And you can't hide that enthusiasm. And actually, enthusiasm builds this business quicker than anything, especially with trusted people that you know. So if I were to go to my mom and she witnessed it over the number of days I implemented Isagenix, and she saw the transformation in me and the sleep that I was getting, and even my husband saw it, you know, if I'm going to prospect someone close to me and share my story, it's my story and I'm enthusiastic about it and I'm authentically myself. It is what it is, right? It's important not to over sensationalize, but for me, was sleeping like a baby 3 days in. And so that's just part of my story. But people's journeys are different, right? And so their stories are going to be different. So I wouldn't hesitate to authentically share if your story is quick and drastic. But I think to Dawn's point, it is important to set expectation, whether it's with product or business. You know, I caution people, even with product, I don't know your background. I don't know what drugs, you know, medicines you're on currently, what chronic conditions you have, and your journey may take longer than it did for me. People who tend to be on a lot of medications and have a lot of chronic illness don't see a ton of weight loss in the first month. Their body's just getting healthy on the inside. Like my aunt who had rheumatoid arthritis and was on injections, she didn't lose weight for a month. But she came off of her benzos for sleeping. She came off of steroids for her joint pain. And there was a number of things that fell off that month because her health was getting better. And she didn't lose weight. The long term, over 4 months, she lost 30 or 40 pounds, right? So you make a good point to make the disclaimer. But I would not curb the enthusiasm, because enthusiasm is really what sells this business, if you ask me.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Any other questions? We're at 9:31. I'm going to land on the quote that I love, which is, in order to live a life you've never lived, you must be willing to do what you've never done. So I'm excited to hear your 30-second stories over the next 7 days in our Facebook Live. Remember to connect with your accountability buddies on this, and begin sending out messages. Fire away tonight, and get them started. I'm going to love hearing what these communications are looking like, and we'll be back at it next Wednesday. We'll finish up month 1 with our future executives. So you guys have a good night, and we'll chat soon.
Good night.
Good night.